emerged from the wrist of her mech. She swung the whip forcefully towards the ground, leaving a 2-meter-long scar upon the surface. Nodding with satisfaction, she mused, "This whip seems quite effective." Wang Baziki stood frozen in place, taken aback. "You can wield a whip? Why did you not retaliate earlier?" He had initially surmised that she was merely a gifted mech pilot without much weaponry experience, which explained her earlier inaction. Xin Zhaoyun glanced at the audience below, now exhausted from their taunts, reclining in their seats for a moment of respite. She lamented, "It was simply that I had not yet fully enjoyed myself. Now, I have." With a swift motion, she tapped the control panel, and her mech soared 5 meters into the air, charging towards the opposing black mech, which hastily raised its blade in a desperate attempt to counterattack. However, at a distance of merely 1 meter from the black mech, the silver black mech's arms swiftly pivoted. The whip, propelled by this motion, broke through at an astute angle, coiling around the opposing mech's long blade like a serpent. "What do you intend to do?" The imposing aura of Wang Bazi attempted to reclaim the long blade with force. Yet, the blade was ensnared tightly by the whip, rendering his efforts futile. Subsequently, the silver-black mech lifted its silvery leg and charged directly toward his mech's energy core. Wang Bazi hastily relinquished the blade and retreated at breakneck speed. This was precisely the moment Xin Zhaoyun had been anticipating. The whip released the long blade and pursued the black mech's leg. Wang Bazi ascended swiftly, but midway through his ascent, he found himself ensnared by the whip, dragged back down. Astonished, he wondered how his opponent had anticipated his upward maneuver. A cold sweat broke out as he turned to see the cannon slowly rising from the opponent's mech arm. "I cannot afford to lose any more money," he shouted urgently. "I surrender. I concede." "Oh, you are rather clever," Xin Zhaoyun replied with some reluctance, retracting the cannon from her mech arm. This time, Wang Baji finally grasped the situation. His mind raced, and he exclaimed, "You are truly formidable. I stand no chance against you. Did you, by any chance, let me win earlier?" "Not at all. You still have much to practice." Xin Zhaoyun shook her head. "It is simply that you are too remarkable. You have discerned my thoughts completely. No wonder I cannot defeat a D-class mech." Wang Baji resolutely refused to acknowledge his own incompetence, insisting that it was indeed his opponent's extraordinary prowess. "Yes, it must be. It is not my inadequacy, but rather the strength of my opponent." The audience, who had initially exhausted their energy in cursing, now found their ire rekindled. This time on behalf of Wang Baji, someone pointed at him, exclaiming, "If you are going to throw a fixed match, at least don't insult our intelligence." A girl nearby slammed her thigh in agreement. "An A-class mech unable to defeat a D-class mech, and you still dare to claim the other is too strong. How shameless can you be? You should be called Wang Batzi instead, quick to concede when defeated." "Indeed, Wang Batzi is more fitting. You spouted grandiose words and were easily defeated. All I witnessed was your frantic leaps. Did you only concede when your energy reserves were depleted?" Someone chimed in. Wang Baji, feeling wronged, protested, "I have given it my all. I simply cannot win. Even if there are no achievements, there is still effort. You should follow me on my media account, and later I shall share my reflections on this match." "Bah! You engage in fixed matches and still have the audacity to boast." The audience erupted in derision. Xin Zhaoyun, observing the agitated crowd, could not refrain from speaking. "You have been cursing throughout the match. How can you still find the energy to berate after it has concluded?" Her words drew the audience's attention back to her. Recalling the moments during the match when she had defiantly extended her middle finger towards them, a voice rang out. "Don't think that just because no one is cursing you, you have been forgiven. You pay for people to engage in fixed matches. I will report you. I have recorded the entire match. Just wait. Such a farce. I have never witnessed a D-class mech triumph over an A-class one. Indeed, we shall remember you, report you, and revoke your eligibility to compete." Someone exclaimed, hurling a water bottle upwards. Xin Zhaoyun watched the bottle spin in midair, mere half a meter away, taking a deep breath. The temperament of future generations is truly explosive. "It seems I must refine my skills further." She shook her head and sincerely remarked, "Is it not possible that I am indeed that formidable? That I can vanquish an A-class mech?" Once again, 2 bottles were tossed in her direction. The onlookers, including Zhuang Yueza and his companions, instinctively recoiled. They had witnessed competitors being pelted with bottles after a loss, but never after a victory. "Believe it or not, I am set to compete again, and I cannot be bothered to argue with you." Xin Zhaoyun rolled her eyes and returned to the platform, preparing to exit. Initially, she intended to leap out of the mech chamber and make her way down the side steps. However, she now feared that if she appeared below, she might truly face retribution. Beside her, the imposing Wang Baji had already adeptly maneuvered to the platform, accustomed to being scolded and having bottles thrown at him. He had endured countless similar experiences. The audience relishes live competitions precisely because they can hurl bottles at the competitors. He had long since lost track of how many matches he had lost. This was merely another bout of adversity. Yet, the audience remained seated. Suddenly, someone spoke up. "Was that person just now, claiming to be your ancestor, stating she intends to continue competing?" Another, irate, took a sip of water and nodded, "Yes. She aims to persist in the competition." The first individual thumped their thigh emphatically, declaring, "Then I must continue watching her matches." Does she truly believe that winning this round guarantees her future victories will be equally effortless? Having won this match, under the Qingyu matching mechanism, it was entirely plausible that she would face an A-class opponent next. The crowd grasped the implication of his words. The Qingyu Cup's matchups are not solely based on rank. They also consider the opponent's competitive strength. If I claim to be your ancestor and conquer this A-class match, the system will assess that I possess A-class capability, thereby significantly increasing the likelihood of being matched against A-class opponents compared to an ordinary D-class mech. Thus, this so-called ancestor might find herself in a precarious position. ultimately failing in her deceitful endeavor. Chapter 48. The next contender, Sherlin Qingfeng, A Class Light Mech. Instantly, someone declared, I shall not watch my idol's match any longer. I want to see how that so-called ancestor gets beaten to a pulp. Let us go. I wish to witness this. I have never seen such a provocative competitor. Others joined in, shouting with fervor. Some waved their hands, suggesting, let us purchase 2 more cups of water, and we shall send her 2 more bottles later. Zhuang Yueza and his companions turned to observe the majority of the audience, brimming with righteous indignation, before silently redirecting their gaze. After a moment, Zhu Yuanyao suddenly proposed. What if we suggest to Xiaoyan that she refrain from competing today? Look at how many people are waiting to berate her during her match. Zhuang Yueza shook his light brain, stating, I just informed her that there are spectators eager to criticize her. I suggested she take a breather and forego today's match. She remarked that it was better for some to crouch down, allowing the audience to hurl insults as they pleased, asserting that pain from blows is suffering, while scorn is affection. Those who berated her were, in fact, her admirers. Zhu Yuanyao and Ding Qingyu couldn't help but wince at this. One must admit, Shen Xiaoyan possesses quite a resilient heart. Most individuals dread offending their audience, striving to appease them, yet she treats it all as trivial. Zhuang Yueza had not finished his thought and continued, stating that she claimed the harsher the insults she received, the more exhilarated she became. She relished the sensation of being targeted with disdain, yet remaining untouchable, especially since she receives 10% from the ticket sales of those very audience members. Zhu Yuanyao inhaled sharply, glancing at Ding Qingyu. Captain, isn't this rather inappropriate? Perhaps you should first discuss with Xiaoyan the etiquette and manners you often preach to us? Ding Qingyu supported his forehead with one hand, shaking his head. Forget it. It's different. Let her revel in her joy as she pleases. That is unfair. If I were to provoke the audience on stage, you would have reprimanded me long ago. Why is it different for Xiaoyan? Zhuang Yueza protested defiantly. Ding Qingyu cast a disdainful glance at Zhuang Yueza, replying bluntly, how can you be compared? Xiaoyan thrives on her skills. Even if she struggles in the Qingyu Cup, she can still earn a handsome sum by modifying mechas for others. You'll have to send her money yourself. Zhuang Yueza slumped back, clutching his chest, feeling as if he had been stabbed by his own kin. Zhu Yuanyao also reflected, indeed, it is different. Xiaoyan has already garnered an audience willing to follow her matches from her very first competition, which is a talent in itself. She just mentioned to me that she won the match and received 800 star coins from ticket revenue. Zhuang Yueza interjected once more, she is incredibly lucky. When I first participated, I was always at a loss. Just in repair costs, I had to shell out 2,000 to 3,000 star coins. Zhu Yuanyao could no longer maintain her composure. Zhuang Yueza nodded, who isn't. When I was a newcomer, my tickets were all free, even when I won. There was no share, and losing meant I had to cover repair costs. The newcomer matches in the Qingyu Cup lacked appeal. Thus the organizers set them as free entry events. Shen Xiaoyan's match, pitting D-Class Mechas against A-Class Mechas, although risky, allowed her to bypass the complimentary matches typically afforded to newcomers. Naturally, this was also a point of contention for the audience, as they were initially able to view the match for free but ended up paying for it instead. At this moment, Shen Xiaoyan, the subject of their discussion, had already registered for the next match, with 5 minutes remaining before she was matched with her next opponent. Seizing this time, she began to analyze the previous match. Her fingers swiftly glided over the left lower button of the control panel, as various data flashed across the mecha's screen. Simultaneously, the central control system of the Immortal Dawn was vocally summarizing the mecha's condition. Power system intact, defense system intact, energy system in red alert, consuming 40%. Requires urgent energy replenishment. N43 area overheating, needs inspection. Shen Xiaoyan casually tapped on the control panel, then silenced the system report. She had grasped the general situation. After the match, the most glaring issue for Immortal Dawn remained its persistent energy problem. The energy capacity of the mecha itself is inherently less than that of a standard A-Class mecha. Moreover, the addition of other systems during its modification has further intensified its energy consumption. She has long devised a solution to redesign the damping system and incorporate an energy conversion scheme. However, her current funds are insufficient, and she estimates she needs to save an additional 300,000 star coins. Shen Xiaoyan sighed as she patted her pocket, lamenting that maintaining a mecha feels akin to nurturing a golden goose. She wished she had not indulged in yesterday's early barbecue. More accurately, she is merely lacking a benefactor like the wealthy Xia. Had Xia been present, she would only need to call her mom, and there would be no need for her to painstakingly save money from nutrient solutions. Fortunately, her participation in the Qingyu Cup provides an avenue for income. She had just won the previous match, earning not only 5 points, but also a share of 800 star coins from ticket sales. A few more matches like that, and she would nearly match the monthly salary bestowed upon her by the team captain. Competing truly is a lucrative endeavor. At that moment, Shen Xiaoyan's optical brain vibrated, signaling the arrival of information regarding her next match's venue and opponent. In 10 minutes, the Y34 arena would witness the clash of Sherlin Qingfeng, A-Class Light Mecha, versus I Am Your Ancestor, D-Class Media Mecha. Shen Xiaoyan raised an eyebrow and promptly forwarded the complimentary tickets for the match to Zhuang Yueza. She then leaped down from her mecha, eager to replace its energy source. Meanwhile, as the system's matching information was released, the waiting spectators received the alert. Let us head to the Y34 arena. The opponent for I Am Your Ancestor has emerged, Sherlin Qingfeng, known as the King of Assassins. It seemed that Sherlin Qingfeng also piloted an A-Class mecha. I told you, I Am Your Ancestor wouldn't stand a chance. Sherlin Qingfeng's prowess far surpassed that of the previous lackluster competitor. Wow, I've been trying to snag tickets for Shi Lin Qingfeng for days and never succeeded. But here I am with tickets for his rival. How fortunate. My younger brother is a fan of Shi Lin Qingfeng. He claims that his speed